Wish me luck. Merry Christmas, everyone. My name is Anna, and today we're going to be talking about Christmas traditions in Brazil. What is it that we do similar and what is it that we do different from other countries when celebrating Christmas? So let's check it out. Christmas in Brazil is celebrated during summer, so because of that you're going to see sometimes the Santa Claus with summer clothes, with swimming trunks, maybe surfing or doing something like that. Most of the times you're going to see him in the traditional outfit and all the representations, but it's curious just to think that sometimes he's dressed up in the swimming wear, like summer vibe type of thing. So because of that, because it's hot for us during the Christmas celebrations, a lot of times we're gonna have celebrations outdoors. So we're gonna have people in balconies, people going out, people maybe going to the beach, or just having a barbecue or something like that at home. Also, due to the climate, it's really hard to find some things that you would typically find around Christmas time in the Northern Hemisphere. So for example, a pine tree. Some places down south in the country, because it's a bit colder down there, you might be able to find families that would be using the pine trees, but throughout the entire country it's way more common to use the plastic fake ones. Usually you would buy one, like 1 year, and you would use it throughout many years to come. You would buy already the little bowls or anything like that and have your entire ornaments and just use the fake one. We also sometimes have a little bit of a kind of a little carpet that is white, just so that we can fake the snow thing, because we don't really have snow in Brazil. It's really uncommon. It's in a very specific part of the country, so it's really not something that we would have. Now let's talk about the date of Christmas. So most places in the Northern Hemisphere usually have the 25th as the most important date. For us in Brazil, the 24th is more important than the 25th. That's when you would have like the closer family being together, they would have dinner, they would exchange gifts, and then on the 25th for lunch, they would visit, I don't know, the set of grandparents that they weren't able to be together with, or another part of the family, or friends. Speaking about the 24th, another tradition we have is the time of the supper. So sometimes we would have, there are families that have supper just before midnight, there are families that have supper at midnight, and that varies family by family, and it's even discussion between friends, like when does your family have dinner or something like that. The same is true for gifts. So for gifts, even kids would get their gifts around midnight. The children, they stay up and then they receive their gifts. And the way that we do that to ensure that the Christmas magic is alive for them is that one uncle or a close relative would dress up as a Santa Claus during summer with that very hot type of clothes, and just go around and be very elusive so that the children chase around them and they kind of barely see it. And then the other adults would come and put the gifts under the trees as they are chasing after the elusive Santa Claus. And then they come back, oh look, the Santa left, Father Christmas left the gifts here. And then they would be like, well, how? I was just trying to chase them. So they can't quite see and quite understand. But we don't, as many like we see on the movies, and in the US it happens, it is not done in the morning. Speaking about presents, we have our own version of Secret Santa. So the Secret Santa, in some places you would just get their name, you would have a budget, and then the gifts would be in a table for everybody to see, and then the person would grab it and you wouldn't really know who was your Secret Santa. But in Brazil, even the name for us is slightly different. It's actually called Secret Friend, and it starts similar. So you would take a name for someone, you would have the budget. Please try to keep in the budget, because sometimes some people go over and it just makes the other people feel bad, because some people might not have the same kind of disposable income you would. So try to keep it within the same range. And then you would take a name, you would buy the gift, but then during the date that you exchange gifts for secret friends, you would actually try to make everybody guess. So you would say, oh, my friend is tall, is blonde, hates to do that, etc., until someone guesses. So a lot of times people do the opposite, say my friend is really short when they're actually tall, or vice versa. And then it's just kind of a way for you to also give a compliment and best wishes for the person. So that's usually how we do it. It's a little bit more of like a social interaction rather than just like buying the gift and giving it to someone. So the secret friend, secret Santa, for us it's really common in either big families, because can you imagine if each person would buy gifts for like 20 other people? It's just a very big budget if you need to do that, or in work environments. So usually for work, for like friends, something that might not be able to gift everybody, usually you do that so that everybody still gets something. Is a way for you to kind of have like social interaction with them, but it won't break the bank. Speaking of that, if by any chance you're gonna be celebrating Christmas in Brazil, or if you're gonna be like in a secret friend confraternization like that, I have many options that I put in a previous video where I tell you some of the common type of gifts that you could give, either to take home with you. It's not Christmassy at all. I mean, it was filmed during Christmas, but you can just like go there and take it throughout the year. You can just buy those. They're very popular. You will not get it wrong if you choose one of those options. So take a look at that video. So we discussed about when we eat, but we did not discuss about what we eat. I think that is where most of the differences with the other countries are. We do have a lot of nuts, which are pretty expensive, walnuts specifically, only around this time, but we have many very typical types of food in Brazil that are specifically for Christmas, and that I don't see that, at least not as popularly, in other countries. So the first one that I wanted to discuss is one called panettone, and it's chocolate version, chocotone. So panettone is Italian bread, so you will find it in Italy, but it's actually more popular in Brazil. It is a type of bread, half cake, that is full of dried fruits. So that's why you have the chocolate version, because not everybody, myself included, is a fan of dried fruits. So you would have chocolate in the panettone. So those are very popular to have during Christmas, for the Christmas table, as a dessert, or just like because people eat throughout the evening and the night, so you would have a slice of that. The other big thing that we would have would be Chester. So Chester is essentially a big chicken, and the story is quite curious. Like, I was taking a look where it came from. It's something very Brazilian. So in the late 70s, a very famous company here called Sadia went, I don't know, internationally and bought a breed of Scottish chicken and brought it in and bred it to become 70% of the meat, just mostly chest and thighs. And they kept secret. These breeds cannot be sold outside of their own company. Like, you won't see an egg from these chickens outside of the company. So the company keeps control of that breed, and they kind of have the trademark for the word Chester. It's a big chicken that was brought to Brazil as an alternative to turkey, because turkey is not popular. You will find turkey for Christmas, but it's not that popular here, and it's very expensive. So Chester is cheaper than turkey. And a fun fact that I learned, at least I didn't know that, maybe you guys did, the word turkey comes from turkey hen, which was the poultry that was brought from Turkey to the US. So I didn't know that was kind of the long name of the turkey. But yes, because of that, we have our own thing. It's not a turkey, it's a chicken, but it's like a bigger chicken. And it's apparently there are like several cares. They don't take any hormones, they are fed organically, and they are very well cared for, and because of that they have a better meat and it's more succulent. So because of that, it's also more expensive. So now I wanted to talk to you about the two type of foods that you either love or hate. I personally am on the quote-unquote hate side. I do not like those, but there are people who love them. So I'm gonna tell you and you tell me what you think. Leave me down in the comments if this is common at all for you. Probably not, because they're Brazilian foods, or if you have ever heard of that, or if you would try those and how you feel about them. I would be really curious to know what you guys think. So the first one is raisins on rice and raisins on farofa. Farofa is our traditional cassava flour dish. You can prepare it many ways with either bacon or sometimes banana or something like that. And some people put raisins on it. And the other dish that is also pretty popular is a potato salad, but with green apples in it. I don't see how apple would go well with mayonnaise, but there are some people who love it. So let me know in the comments if this is something you tried, if you like it or not, or if you would be willing to try. I'm sure you would be able to find it. So it's always a little bit of a point of debate every Christmas about if it's gonna be like that and if you're gonna eat it or not, or the incredible sadness that it is to find some apple in a potato salad and then you munch it thinking it's a potato and it's actually sweet because it's an apple. So there are like some kinds of jokes about it, but those two are very traditional. It's something that in a lot of families you will find. In my family you will find that as well. Sometimes they're gonna have the two types, with and without apples, with and without raisins, but it is something we joke about every Christmas. And last but not least, I wanted to say the traditions we do not have here. So I have seen some traditions, mostly here in the UK, but also in other countries. They probably also have traditions that we don't have. So you might think it's something that other countries would do, but then you will not find that in Brazil. So I just wanted to run by those quickly. So the first one that I would say is leaving milk and cookies for Santa. So this is not common, this is not something we do, and probably because as we already exchanged gifts around midnight, even for children, there is not this overnight type of thing in the Christmas morning. Also, the whole thing with the chimney is not really common because we are a hot country, so you won't find many chimneys across the country. So the chimney thing doesn't really happen, hence the running around and being elusive. So another thing that we don't typically have is the naughty list. The whole concept of naughty list, of the coal inside the sock and things like that is not something that happens. With that being said, I just wanted to open parentheses talking about children that do not have the opportunity, either because they're poor or because they're orphans, to receive gifts. So our National Post Office has a very good campaign each year, and what they do is that they receive letters from children across the country just asking for something like a doll, toy truck, or some kids are going to ask something a little bit more expensive, some kids that just really want something simple. So these letters, they addressed to Santa, and then they go to the post office, and then the post office posts them in a website, and then you can go there, take a look, choose one letter that you would like to be the Santa for. You would buy the gift, wrap it, and then you could leave in one of the branches. Like, they have the list of which branches would be accepting the gifts, but if that's something that you would be willing to do, that's an option as well. They run it every year until around mid-December, so perhaps for 2022, the year I'm filming this video, you might be out of time to do that. But if you want to do it next year, around mid-November, they start opening up for you to give the gifts. And then the last thing is the Advent calendar. You know, it's very popular here in the UK. It's the one that from the 1st until the 24th with a tiny gift every time. Most likely it's a chocolate, but it could be a little perfume or something that is small and it would fit in a little box, and then you open one per day until the 24th. So it's kind of something to build up the expectation for Christmas. That is a tradition we do not really have in Brazil. I wish we did, because I really like this one. It's fun and it's engaging and keeps you excited for Christmas, but that's not something we do have in Brazil. So that's it. What did you think? Are there any of these traditions that you have in your country? Let me know down in the comments, and if you like the video, please consider giving me a like. I've been trying to put out videos about Brazil, and then hopefully we're gonna be out and seeing much more of Brazil, so I'm really excited for that. So if you want to see how that goes, stick around, and I'm hoping to see you next time. Bye! Right, the things I do for YouTube. Brazilian potato salad. Apple, potato, mayo. Let's mix it all. See how it goes. Wish me luck.